into this live stream segment of MCSC, and of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. So the debate lineups have been announced, and as you can imagine, Mike Gravel was blocked. He was blocked. I don't know how else to put it. He was blocked. Real quick, I see super chat. Will Tulsi break up the CIA into a million pieces like JFK wanted, or will she force them to follow the JFK Act first, then break them up? Actually, I don't know if you all heard her very first speech. If you have not listened to Tulsi's very first announcement speech in Hawaii, I suggest you go listen to that. Anybody, if you're trying to figure out who you want to support, if you're trying to figure out if Tulsi is the one for you, if the intelligence community and its corruption is important to you, if the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, Medicare, if all that stuff is important to you, then I really suggest you go watch that. Because she makes it very clear as to how she feels about the military intelligence community. She doesn't like them. And that's one of the reasons they want to not let her win. She's the most dangerous candidate. Because not only, obviously, does she not like them, but she understands exactly how they work to manipulate and control people. Darren Levy, thanks for the super chat. Does Tulsi know of Jeremy Corbyn? Could you encourage her to work with him or make contact to build the UK and US Progressive Alliance? I think that she would policy and campaigning. So yeah, they did keep Mike Gravel off the debate stage. It's ridiculous. It's atrocious. It doesn't make any sense. And I'm going to explain why it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because even CNN on their website listed exactly how you qualify. And it says the candidates had until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard on Wednesday to clarify with the DNC that they have either one or the other achieved at least 1% support in 3 polls from an approved list of pollsters, or received campaign contributions from 65,000 unique donors, including 200 donors from each of the 20, from 200 donors each from 20 different states. They qualified for this. Not only, they had several polls where Mike Gravel had reached 1%, by the way, and then they actually got to 65,000 last week. So they qualified in 2 ways. And then somehow they let so who was it that dropped out? Swalwell dropped out. And thanks for the super chat, Adrian. Swalwell dropped out, and out of nowhere, another guy who nobody has ever heard of. Thanks for the super chat, Dat Vegan. A guy who nobody ever heard of, and I wish I could remember his name. I can't remember his name now. I really can't. Not even joking. The polls they decided to use, all of those polls said that he had gotten 1%, although he had not met the donor qualification. Now, the issue became that all of a sudden, they decided that polling, even with a 4 or 5% margin of error, which means you could have 1% in the polls, or 5%, or literally like negative 5%. But polling took precedent over the unique donors from real people who actually support the campaign. So quantifiable evidence that says you have support was superseded by basically anecdotal evidence. Because polling, especially polls approved by the DNC, are just nonsense. They're lies. These are the same polls that have Biden ahead of Bernie. The polls are full of shit. Biden is, oh my God, y'all. Biden could never, ever hope to be ahead of Bernie. At the very least, I could have seen them being tied in the very beginning. But after everything that has transpired, I seriously doubt that that Biden is actually ahead of Bernie. I didn't believe he was ahead of Bernie in the beginning, before everybody got to listen to this man make a fool of himself daily. But now, so if that's the case now, do you really believe that these polls are the best metric to decide whether somebody should get into a debate? And do we really believe that this new person, once again, I wish I could even remember this person's name, but I can't. But are we supposed to believe that this new random person has more genuine support, when I can't even remember his name and I do this for a living, than Mike Gravel? Abso-freaking-lutely not. But that was the intention, right? And to be quite honest with you, I think the reason that Bill de Blasio entered the race was to shut out Gravel. This new guy, I think, announced a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago at the most. I think he announced after Swalwell dropped out and somehow managed to get 1% in the polls almost immediately. It's insane to me. It really is. And to be quite honest, it's expected, right? It's expected of the DNC at this point. Now, here's the issue with what could take place to stop Tulsi from getting on the debate stage next. I know, it sucks. It's scary. In order to qualify for the third and fourth set of debates in September and October, respectively, candidates now have to achieve 2% in 4 polls, right? Not an irrational request, but it's 2% in 4 polls from a slightly changed list of approved pollsters and received 130,000 unique donations from the date of their campaign's creation. So the good news is a lot of candidates, a lot of them are about to be eliminated. Hickenlooper, Delaney, I don't think Moulton qualified. De Blasio, no, actually I think De Blasio will probably get it, unfortunately. Cory Booker might be out. Cory Booker still hasn't hit the 65,000 mark, to my understanding. And if he's hit that, I know for a fact he didn't hit the 130,000 because he was begging. He was like well under 100,000. He was begging for that 130,000. So I know he didn't hit that. Basically, every candidate, every establishment candidate except for Kamala, Biden, Kamala, Biden, Warren, maybe de Blasio, maybe Castro. Kamala, Biden, Warren, de Blasio, Castro. I think that might be it. Honestly, that really might be it. Everybody else is going to be eliminated because they can only, the polls, they can only hide behind the polls in so long. Remember, the whole goal, in my humble opinion, was to try and drown out Bernie and Tulsi. It kind of worked with Bernie, not really though, because even though he had a subpar performance by his personal standards, the standards that he has set in the past, he still raised $22 million in 24 hours the next day, the same amount as Kamala, who supposedly won the debate. Even though they were trying their hardest to drown him out by echoing his policies, even though we know that they don't really plan on implementing them. And then there's Tulsi, who they tried to drown out once again, literally, quite literally, turned her microphone down, everything, skipped over her own questions, tried to smear her directly, just like they tried to put words in Bernie's mouth or use incomplete quotes out of context. They tried that with her, didn't matter, still trended #1 on Google the night of the debates. is looking like she's going to hit that 130,000 mark sooner rather than later. At the debates, it'll be almost a lock in that regard. And Marianne Williamson, I think, might make it, and I think Andrew Yang might make it as well. So we'll get to hear from a lot of the popular outsiders, Bernie, Tulsi, Marianne Williamson, and Andrew Yang, more so in the September October debates than we have and will on July 31st. I believe that this will be a shit show again, to be honest with you. So I don't want to focus on everybody. I want to focus on the important stuff. So just by the way, once again, it's a damn shame that Mike Gravel did not make that debate stage. It don't make no sense. Bethlehem, thanks for the super chat. Does he have any chance at all for him to be on the third debates? So that's a kind of a weird question. It's not weird on your behalf. It's just weird because if you're asking does he have a chance to qualify for the third debate, I absolutely 100% believe that Mike Gravel could qualify for the third debate. He could qualify. Would they actually allow him on the debate stage? Absolutely not. And it's just a fact that we now have to live with, unfortunately. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but this is why we need the Democratic Party defeated, right? That's why we need the DNC defeated. That's why progressives need to take over, not just the Democratic Party, they need to create new parties. They need to take over the Republican Party as well. I'd rather libertarians be in charge of the Republican Party. I'd rather Rand Paul be in charge of the Republican Party than a Mitch McConnell, right? Here's the deal. John Michael Manzi. Are we aware? Are Warren, Kamala in the second and third debate? Number 2 is political. Are Warren and Kamala in second and third? Are you asking if they both qualify for both debates? If that's the case, then yes. And Politicon. I am trying to get into Politicon, actually. I'm trying to get into Politicon. If you want to see me in Politicon, you can add them on Twitter. Tag me and say, let Niko debate everybody on the left. Like, just so I'm coming and just wreck people. Wreck them. Put me on stage with Sam Cedar, Anna Kasparian, David Packman, all of them. I don't care. Kel, put all of them on stage at the same time. Let them all try to debate me at once. It's fine. I don't care. They all use each other's arguments anyway, right? But yeah, so on the first night, Bernie will be debating. The most interesting thing about that night will be how he stands up or doesn't stand up to Elizabeth Warren. I doubt he will directly engage her, I'm being completely honest, right? The reason why is because he considers them friends. Why? I don't know. Bernie is really not all that good at choosing his friends. I don't really get it. I can't tell you why. Not good. Are they in second and third place, John? So Kamala is in third overall, I believe, at this point. I think Liz Warren actually dropped to like fourth, if I recall. Fourth or fifth. Fuentes, thanks for the super chat. But with as far as Bernie and Elizabeth Warren are concerned, this is going to be a challenge for Bernie. Because this is going to be the first time that he has to stand on the debate stage with Warren, or a quote-unquote progressive poser, who actually has unfortunately built up progressive credibility somehow, some way. The lies of the mainstream are abundant, right? Hell, even CNN, in the article where they announced the debates, they have said multiple times, Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, the two leading progressives. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, the two leading progressives. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren, the progressive juggernauts. First and second most known progressives in the race. Progressives, they're going to continue. And this is what pissed me off about David Schroeder's tweet about Bernie's pledge to not take corporate money from the medical industry. Like, let's be honest. I know why Bernie did it. It was a smart strategy on his behalf. He's basically calling them out, and I encourage him to continue to do that. But on the other side of that coin, David Sirota was like, oh, look at the people who have signed the pledge. It's Bernie, obviously. Elizabeth Warren. And David Sirota was bragging about Elizabeth Warren signing the pledge. But we know Elizabeth Warren is a liar. She literally said on TYT she wants all hands on deck as far as taking corporate money. She wants it from corporate lobbyists. She wants it from Wall Street. She wants it from medical insurance. She wants it from everybody. Private fundraisers, public fundraisers. You get a lobbyist. You get a lobbyist. You get a lobbyist. She wants it from everybody. So now, Bernie is in a predicament where he has to somehow separate himself as the actual progressive from Warren without being an asshole to her in front of the entire stage. Not only for he can't do it, or he won't do it because it's his friend, but let's be honest, let's be very clear. Bernie can't be an asshole to Warren because he's going to be called a sexist. Okay? He is. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Warren is protected. She's protected by traditional societal constructs of how we view women like Warren. I'm not gonna get into all the details, but you know, older white woman, grandmother type of person. Hillary Clinton was protected by that type of trope, I guess. And she actually was one of the most evil human beings on the planet. So of course Warren, who seems to be nicer, is going to constantly be protected. And if Bernie at all, because of just the type of rough and raw person he is, if he at all tries to come directly at Warren, they will call him a sexist. They will say, oh, Bernie's trying to prove himself against Warren. Trying to? No, he's just reaffirming what everybody should already know. So it's going to be difficult for Bernie to navigate that. But I will say this. Not being on the stage with Kamala and Biden is a good thing. Primarily because that's going to get ugly again. Bernie and Warren are really the only two to watch on the first night. The show, however, the show is on the second night. Cheryl, thanks for the super chat. Much love. Warren is the most insidious, endorsed by Neera Tanden. Bernie needs a life coach on how to pick friends. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Because Bernie has been a loner his entire life, it's just something that he's not good at. And for the most part, he is a loner still. He has friends, but they're more so colleagues or acquaintances. If you've noticed, most of the time, he's with his family. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. But, just keep it in a band. So, the night to watch is the second night. Now, watch Bernie too, but the reason why is because Cory Booker, Kamala, and Biden are on the same stage. Cory Booker's spokesperson already came out and said, now for the first time, Joe Biden is going to have his own public Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, making a reference to how Joe Biden mistreated Anita Hill. So we can definitely count on Joe Biden to, that we can definitely count on Cory Booker to try and capitalize on what Kamala Harris started. Now, do I believe that Kamala will try and gang up on Biden? I don't think so anymore. I think she might have before, but she won't this time. Why is that? Because she tried to call Biden a racist because of the bus bill. And it turns out she actually takes the same stance as Biden does. And it's been public. So all the positive support she got for that is now turning into backlash a little bit, right? Her having the shirts of her face on it as a child preloaded. I don't think that she'll bring up the moderators might, but I don't think that she will personally bring up the comments again or her experience being bust, because there's been a lot of digging going on. And the digging has not favored her. There's a lot of questions about the validity of her claims. So I don't think that she will actually bring that up again. They might, she won't. And I think that she'll kind of steer clear of Biden. Because people are like, hold on, I thought you were trying to insinuate that the policy was racist. Right? Because that's what it seemed like. She was saying, that, okay, because she's prefaced by saying, well, Biden isn't, I don't think you're a racist, Vice President. But that policy was racist. Okay. I don't think that anybody disagrees with Kamala there, that the busing policy that she was pushing, or that he was pushing, was indeed, which we found out after the fact. So, I mean, I'm not saying nothing slick to a can of oil, because I already know everybody here knows the deal about Kamala. But if she insinuates that Biden is racist, because that's what she was doing, she premised, it's like whenever Biden says, or Bernie says, well, you know, Biden's a nice guy and he's my colleague, but what he's saying is Biden is a dickhead, and I don't want to be I don't want to be the guy to call him a dickhead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out all these policies and let you all make the determination that he's a dickhead, so I don't have to. That's what she was basically trying to do with calling Biden a racist. I don't think you're a racist, Mr. Vice President, but that policy was pretty racist. And then she lets everybody else call him a racist instead. Then she puts out the shirt and profits off of it. Then she takes all the publicity while Biden is called a racist the entire time. So, yeah, I don't think she'll get involved in that. But I think Cory Booker, in an attempt to make the next debate stage, will be on a full-on, all-out attack against Biden. Lauren Brillante, thanks for the super chat. Go to auditelectionsusa.org and check out the fight to make elections more real and verifiable. Fight for real and verifiable elections today and every day. 100%. Thank you very much for that update, Lauren. So the interesting thing I think everybody is waiting to see, though, is Tulsi. I truthfully believe that Tulsi was selected to be on this particular debate stage. And I truly believe that they didn't want her next to Warren again, because really ever since then, Warren has been an afterthought. Warren dropped in the polls. The talk has been about Tulsi, for better or for worse. They don't want that. But I do think that there was another aspect of it, and this is speculative. One thing that rules above all else when it comes to television networks is ratings. And there is no other Democratic candidate, not a single one, that brings the ratings like Tulsi does. Because Tulsi says things that are quote unquote controversial. They shouldn't be considered controversial, but to the mainstream, saying things like we shouldn't be in Afghanistan, nor should we have ever been there, that does sound controversial. And although they don't like that truth getting leaked out, they think that it's manageable, right? They think that it's controllable. It's not. They should have learned from Trump, but they haven't, because they're looking at the next quarter, not the election. So I think that they put her on that stage with Kamala, with Biden, with Booker, because they know, for whatever reason, it seems like Tulsi has a personal bone to pick with Kamala. It does. I don't know. Like, I could tell that she didn't necessarily want to be rude to Elizabeth Warren for whatever reason. But with Kamala is really, she called out Elizabeth Warren by name before on Twitter, but Kamala is the only person that Tulsi has called out to attack by name on Twitter, in interviews, in her own personal videos. She does not like Kamala. And Kamala just so happens to be standing in the way of the progressive movement. So if you put 2 and 2 together, it might get ugly on that debate stage. That's all I'm saying. Tulsi may or may not have a lot of opposition research on Kamala Harris. May or may not. I don't know for a fact, but she might. And Tulsi would not have went out of the way to gather all this opposition research on Kamala unless she at least probably, or may not have gathered. I should say that. May or may not have gathered a bunch of opposition research on Kamala. Unless she was going to use it against her. She may or may not have done that. She may have or may not have been targeting Kamala this entire time, as you could see in the videos and interviews. Unless she planned on, dealing with her. I'm just saying. I don't know for a fact. I don't know for a fact that this is the case. But, she may or may not have opposition. A lot of opposition research. Hours worth, even. So, I imagine that sooner rather than later, Kamala will be fully exposed. I think she will make the next debates after this. But I think at that point, she will be an afterthought. She has been basically trying to campaign on being a black woman. And to be honest, let's be real, Kamala is no Michelle Obama. For everything that we can criticize the Obamas about, it's actually kind of hard to criticize Michelle because she didn't really let me down until the very, very last moments of the elections of 2016. I really loved Michelle because even when her husband was hesitant to go at Hillary, she was always willing to. And so, with that being said, though, Kamala is not Michelle. Kamala isn't just going to walk in and get the black vote. Kamala doesn't have the history to back up her supposed, deserved, whatever she believes she deserves as far as the black vote is concerned. So, if it's a gimmick, right? It's like music. Think of your favorite music genre. How many one-hit wonders are in every music genre? They play on a gimmick. Yeah, it may be the most popular thing, most popular song. It's going to get played once a year in the club, at least once in the club while you're out, right? You're going to hear it on the radio station once a week. They're going to play, when they play that classics, they're going to play those classics. You're going to hear it. But is that going to land them 2-3 record deals, 5 or 6 tours, in a continuous and regular ongoing music career? No. Kamala is a gimmick. Kamala is a one-hit wonder. After being black, she has nothing else. And now, that's even being exposed. She wants to claim the black experience only when it's convenient. But pro-black policies, no. She don't do that. Not at all. So, it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see how Kamala handles Tulsi and vice versa. because I'm sure Kamala knows she can't go at Tulsi in the same way Tulsi can go at her. Tulsi has nothing to lose. Kamala going at Tulsi only serves to boost Tulsi's name recognition. So even if Kamala tries to get in a shouting match, which Tulsi doesn't shout, by the way, Kamala will look a little unhinged trying to go one-on-one with Tulsi, like Tim Ryan did. You see, when Tim Ryan was getting mad nervous, this is the thing that makes Tulsi dangerous. Make no mistake about it, Tulsi is shy. But Tulsi, when she sits in her groove, she's composed, she's presidential, she's articulate, she's eloquent. She doesn't sound like she hates you when she's dismantling your arguments, but she does dismantle your arguments nonetheless. Kamala tries too hard, and if she tries to go head to head with Tulsi, I don't think that she will come out on top. Tulsi's name will now be thrown in every headline, her and Kamala. People will start to Google both of them. People will start to research both of them. And just based off of that, she'll rise in the polls. So they'll try to keep Kamala and Tulsi separate that entire time. They'll try to separate their questioning. But what I am expecting out of Tulsi, and I've told her this, fuck them. They turn that microphone off, don't care. You say what you gotta say as loud and as proud as you can, regardless of what they allow you to say. You go at Kamala. I don't think she'll go at Biden because her and Biden's sons were friends before Biden's son passed away. So I think that there is something personal there. However, I'm not really worried about Biden. I am worried about her destroying Kamala. And if Cory Booker jumps in, he can get some of this work too. So, really quick, I am excited to see Marianne Williamson. I can't even front. I'm excited to see Marianne Williamson in another debate. Because it's interesting to see how she's managed to learn from every mistake she's ever made and grow. Rarely, if ever, repeating the same mistake twice. She's a very intelligent human being. She is. People want to pretend like she's not because she's, trust me. And I love, she said this in the Rubin report interview. She said, nobody ever questions what the motivation behind quote unquote terrorist attacks and war and countries, conflicts. You never question the feeling that motivates those conflicts. It's hatred. You never question that. If we say that, they're governed by hatred, nobody would be like, oh, okay. So why is Gov saying we should start governing with love first controversial? Why is that an insane notion? Because people want it to be. The mainstream wants it to be. Hatred, jealousy, these are the things that drive the establishment. These are the things that turn us against each other. And if you want to gain a lot of respect for Marianne Williamson, I really suggest you go look at that Dave Rubin interview. Because, man, she made Dave Rubin look like a moron. Like, I've never seen that before. Because he thought that Marianne Williamson was like, a lovey-dovey version of the establishment. And that's not the case. Marianne Williamson is extremely intelligent. I mean, the way she was even able to quickly turn Dave Rubin's own arguments against him when he would try to switch it up. Every time he would try and make a huge logical leap, one of those Ben Shapiro leaps, she'd be like, no, you're not going to try to link this or associate this with this. That isn't right. That's not fair. Come on, let's not do that. Like, just woo! I was like, oh shit. She almost made you feel bad for Dave Rubin by the end of that interview. Not even joking. So, Yeah, I'm excited to see Williamson. I'm excited to see Bernie and Tulsi. I'm excited to see the Tulsi Kamala matchup. I don't know how I feel about Yang right now. Yang's coming off to be a little bit pro-Zionist. He had the Russiagate comments. Yang's foreign policy is his lack of knowledge on foreign policy is seriously being exposed. It really is. So I hope that he addresses the shortcomings and the missteps that he has displayed over the last month or so. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. I will be back on tomorrow, but make sure you go check out the other videos that I put up. I put up 5 or 6 videos yesterday. So go check those out. And, because God forbid you got notifications to them. I know most of you all do not. So with that being said, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.